Okay, thanks, Anna. And I won't take much of your time since I've been speaking already this morning, but I would just like to pick up on a few things that René also mentioned and try to provide, as Anna was saying, the kind of an umbrella for our work. And it's not going to be a technical umbrella. I'm not going to talk about NFI or greenhouse gas inventories or anything like that. I just want to focus on the big picture. What are the changes that have happened outside FAO and inside FAO that will have an influence to our work? And hopefully, as I said in the morning, that we'll then have an also, hopefully that from this retreat we will come with the elements for our new strategy and how we work together. But of course you all know there was a Paris Agreement, it has come into a force. We have the Sustainable Development Goals, so all of that provides the umbrella for our work. You may not necessarily think about it always or none of us probably thinks about every day when we are more focused on our technical work. But really it would be good that during these 2 days we will reflect a bit what has changed globally and what are these ambitious goals that countries have committed themselves through their nationally determined contributions in the Paris within the Paris Agreement. What does it mean to our work, and what does it mean when countries have committed to sustainable development goals? And as you know, many countries indeed have included forests and forestry or the whole alpha-loose sector in their nationally determined contributions. We've done a lot of calculations, but approximately 145 countries have included forests and land use in their NDCs. Mostly many of them have put forestry in the mitigation, that basically is the red agenda, but also a large number of countries have put forestry as part of the adaptation measures. And here's also something that we should be reflecting today and tomorrow, that red overall obviously is a mitigation measure by large, but we should think about it in the future a bit more broader terms. What are the adaptation benefits that are emerging when we are working on red, which is mitigation action? And then I would just like to sort of put forward 4 points that I would like to see that we will be reflecting through these 2 days. And what are the moves that could be foreseen that pave us the road for the new RED Plus strategy for FAO? So I think first one is very clearly it's the time to move from the readiness to implementation. Not all our countries where we work are yet there, but that's clearly the trend. We have done a lot of readiness capacity development work, working on the basic institutional setups, basic forest inventory setups, national forest monitoring systems. That work will certainly continue, but with the view of moving from readiness, initial readiness, to the actual implementation. And then I think Roshan was mentioning that there was in the last retreat, which I didn't participate a year ago, was that there was an identification of these technical clusters or technical teams. I think this will certainly continue, but I think we have a chance of expanding our horizon a little bit. From that, and then include in this technical work also work that is beyond MRV work, which still remains as the central pillar of the RED. So that's absolutely important. At the same time, we have a chance to look at what can we contribute also, what else can we contribute to the RED. We have, as you can probably, those colleagues that work in our countries clearly can see that we have a lot of competition from our sister agencies and the World Bank and others. So they are happily almost encroaching to the FAO's mandate, which is on agriculture and forestry more broadly. So I would encourage us to think about during these 2 days, what are the kind of elements that we can bring through this large expertise that we have, and expertise we have outside also this team and this cluster, to strengthen our contributions and interventions on RED Plus. This means the famous term PAMS, which I personally do not like because it doesn't really say anything. It's policies and measures, so it can be anything. But thinking about the ideas of, just recently we saw a paper that UNEP have written about agroforestry. Why didn't FAO write a UN red paper on agroforestry? Or strengthening tenure issues, strengthening law enforcement, working together with our inside FAO, working together with different teams, which we will discuss further tomorrow. Obviously restoration is an area that is clearly a red activity. We should probably look into that as well, and maybe many other things that we can build and strengthen our interventions in the future as a red cluster. And then, as I mentioned already, I think it would be good to reflect how can we strengthen what is done through RED. How can we include aspects that relate to adaptation? Because even RED is, as I said, it's clearly basically in its original a mitigation measure, but more and more countries are looking the mitigation and adaptation on the ground as basically the same. The same interventions are contributing to both. So let's look at that aspect as well. And then I think you've already seen this change, and I mentioned it earlier, that the large majority of you belong to the UN RED, and UN RED used to be the team on its own, but we no longer have UN RED team as a law. We have a RED plus team. So we have expanded our scope and our funding, and that will continue. We have other quite significant programs and projects coming up in many parts of the world. One is, for example, the Central African Forest Initiative. We have a large-scale funding just being agreed. We have other opportunities coming up, so we are moving and diversifying also our interventions, keeping UN RED, of course, as one of the key programs, and it will be the key program, but there will be other programs as well that are coming on board. So I think this is all from my side to start up and sort of trying to throw some ideas for what is it that I would like to see to be discussed, and that can then pave and contribute to building the elements for the RED Plus strategy in FAO. And I keep coming back on this RED Plus strategy because I have been asked many times up to the Maria Helena Semedo, the deputy director, that where is your RED strategy? And basically we don't have any. We have UN RED strategy, but we don't really have a RED strategy, and I think it's about the time that we have that and develop that jointly and together in this group.